Alright, you guys. Hey, welcome back to Mr.Bo. What we got here going is some jasmine rice in the front here. I'm cooking some off, and I've got a vegetable stock down here. Just braising down. We used some of the vegetable stock already for the braised rabbit. The rabbit's in the oven right now. I'm braising it. What we did the same technique last time, where we took the rabbit and we seared it off in the pan. Then we had some mirepoix ready, and then we sauteed our mirepoix off and got all of the fond. It's called the fond, F-O-N-D. We got all the fond off the bottom of the pan. The fond is what is left after you saute. After you sear a big piece of meat off. It's got seasoning on it. You're gonna be left with some sticky bits. It's like the sugars and the caramels of the natural caramels of the meat that cook off onto the pan, and that happens when you cook any kind of protein and sometimes vegetables. So we used the moisture from the vegetables to pull all the fond off the bottom of the pan. We did a traditional mirepoix, which was carrots, celery, and onion. We did garlic, and then we got that and some of our stock together with the seared rabbit that we had in there, and we added some jalapeno as well for a little spice. Then we threw it in the oven, and I've still got the rest of this stock simmering away and getting ready. And actually, I'm breaking down, since I've got my oven on for roasting, braising down the rabbit. I've got acorn squash here, or these are actually butternut squash. No, that's right. These are acorn. They look like a little acorn. That's why they call them acorn squash, because they got the little ribs here. And all you do when you're prepping these, I wanted to show you guys, when you're prepping these acorn squash, all you want to do is cut them in half, and it looks like a pumpkin on the inside, kind of. It's the same family. It's the Spanish call them calabazas, and this is the same family as the pumpkin and the butternut squash and the spaghetti squash and zucchini and yellow squash. They're all in the same family. And they're also part of the Nighshade family, which I do want to point out since I have this out. Eggplants. These are baby Italian eggplants, and these are also part of the Nighshade. And you will find that tomatoes are also part of the Nighshade family. And that is Nighshade family for all you guys out there watching. So remember that. Nighshade family: squash, eggplant, tomatoes. There's a lot of vegetables in that area. So you can use these seeds as well if you don't want to throw away your acorn squash seeds. You can roast them off just like pumpkin seeds, and they're delicious. So what I did is I already cored this one out. You can see this one has seeds in it still and the guts, and I've taken and removed all the seeds and the guts. And all I'm doing is I wanted to show you guys this. So just take a big spoon, get you a big spoon, and you're going to indent your spoon in there, and then just start to curve a little circle out of there and go around the meat. You don't want to get off too much meat. You want to just try to stay in the center and where you get the seeds. And that way, when you get to this point right here, you can just start popping it out. And just, if there's some seeds, a pocket of seeds or something down in there, like this, just scrape it out until you get you a nice clean face. Just meat, no seeds, and no, well, I call them the guts, but that's what connects the seeds to the fruit and help the seeds last a long time without rotting. And that's how it spreads its seed when they grow in the wild, or if they did grow in the wild. So I'm just going to go ahead and knock the rest of these out. I've got me a baking tray ready, and we're going to throw these halved acorn squash onto the baking tray face down with the meat down and the skin up like this, like so. Look like this on the tray. And we don't need the skin, so I'm just going to let it roast away. And what the skin's going to do when you put this face down on this tray, what the skin's going to do is like really steam the meat. It's going to get seared on the face of it. A lot of caramelization is going to go on. The sugar's going to be meeting the pan, and that's where the heat is, so it's going to caramelize a little bit. If you roast them for a while or at a really high temperature, it'll caramelize a lot and give you more pronounced flavor. But the rest of it's going to steam all up in the hoof there, on the inside of the hoof. It's just going to be really steamed and nice and moist and sweet. It turns out great. I love acorn squash. Can't speak enough about any kind of orange squash. It's so good for you. It's definitely good for your diet. But what I wanted to point out for the test is, for sure, know what the fond is. F-O-N-D, fond. And that's the pan. It's the leftovers from searing meat. It's natural proteins and sugars that stick to the pan, and you want to deglaze that with some kind of vinegar or some kind of flavorful liquid, or in this case we did a little bit of dark beer just to bring out the flavor. Put my rice down to low since it's boiling, and we're going to cook this jasmine rice. Jasmine rice cooks for about 12 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to let that cook, simmer. I'm covered up, and I'm going to go ahead and throw this acorn squash in. The jasmine rice is going to cook up. I'm going to let it cook down and put just a teaspoon of salt and some water in it. You can add other things like sesame oil or toasted sesame oil to it to give it a different flavor. You can add, coconut milk as your cooking liquid. So there's lots of different things you can do with jasmine rice. Jasmine rice is great. It's a light rice. It's very delicious. It's got a nice sweet flavor, sweet aroma to it. What I did want to mention, something that I worked with, we were just experimenting, and I've talked about this to a few of my classes, jicama. What we made was like a jicama salad here, where we shredded the jicama up, and it's like a, it's kind of like a potato, but it's a sweeter, and it's not as starchy. It's more water to it, so you can shred it and you can put it in salad. So we put it in a julienne. Another thing on test is julienne. A julienne, some bell peppers, some green bell peppers, and then we shredded on the shredder here. We shredded some jicama. Me and my roommate, we shredded jicama and shredded some carrots. So it's carrots, jicama, green bell peppers. We put soy sauce, hot mustard, sriracha, which is sriracha, but I call it sriracha. Sriracha is a Thai chili sauce, and then we also put a little bit of honey and some cilantro, and it's a really great salad. I'm going to pair it with this rice and this rabbit, because the rabbit's going to be very savory. I'm going to pair this with the rabbit because it's going to be nice and light and fresh. It was very good. So it's not a woo! That's spice. That sriracha is spicy. Got me. So it's not a bad idea to pair some fresh food, like a salad or something like that, with some cooked foods like the braised rabbit we're going to do. You can do something as simple as, like, with some short ribs, some braised short ribs, pair something like a nice light fresh, freshly caramelized and pickled onions on top of the braised short rib. It's a great little addition. We used to do some flash fried spinach with our short rib and some risotto. We did great short ribs. Short ribs are outstanding, especially in the wintertime. We've gotten around to that season. You could even braise some acorn squash with some beef short ribs, or do a leg of lamb for your family for the holiday season. Sear off the leg of lamb in a big roasting pan, and then add some braising liquid, some flavorful stock. Maybe practice on chopping some vegetables. Do some large dice in a stock pot and add some cold water to it. Do carrots, celery, and onions. Add some garlic, a little bit of parsley, salt and pepper, and cook that down with some cold water. You want to start with the cold water for sure, always. So do something like that. Don't be afraid to jump out there and try something different. Just get you a recipe, or read a few recipes online if you're going to go online. Read a few of the recipes and see which ones sound more professional and sound like they're going to work. And always cross-reference your recipes so that you get something that you really want. It sounds like it's going to work. But we got a small lesson here. I was talking about the fond when we sear meat. How we get the fond up, we add our vegetables that have moisture in them, and the vegetables are going to start to pull off the fond, and then eventually we deglaze the pan to get the fond off. So adding any kind of moisture to just oil and some kind of protein is going to start to deglaze the sugars that are caramelized on the pan. So I really want you to remember that, because that creates a lot of depth in your stocks and your sauces. And this is just like one of the building blocks of the foundations of cooking. So, really focus on this stuff when you're at home cooking for yourself. Even if it's in small batches, you don't have to cook for everybody. If you want to try something, just make a stock. You guys have seen me make stocks in class. You've seen me have them on video. It's pretty much just a bunch of chopped vegetable pieces, and you use them what you normally wouldn't to get some flavor out. But don't use any dirt in your stocks. Make sure you cut the root end off. You don't want dirty stocks. You make sure you don't want to stir your stocks. So I've gone on and on about this. It's been about 11 minutes. I promised when I started this project that I would keep it under 10 minutes. We've gone a little over, so that's fine. Rice is almost done. I'm going to let that actually turn off and just let it steam, because I like my rice a little underdone. Because I like a little bite. Italian, we like our pasta al dente. So it was good giving you guys a lesson. Don't forget about the baby eggplants. You can roast these off whole or grill them and puree them and make baba ganoush, which is a pureed chickpea and eggplant dip with lots of garlic, and tahini, which is a sesame oil paste. So utilize everything, guys, and try new things. So I've got some Napa cabbage here. I know some of you guys saw at class that we did some Napa cabbage for our pork soup in the cafe, the Panther's Den. So don't forget about trying Napa cabbage. You can braise this. You can chop it up and make a raw salad like we did with our excellent jicama. It was so good. I really urge you guys to try some cabbage and some jicama. Y'all get to cooking, and I look forward to seeing you guys again on here. Y'all been doing good, and I really like to congratulate you guys for stepping up and really trying to learn information and do all the classwork. So I'll see you soon.